Keila Sena.
Oi, gente, Rejane aqui. My name is Rejane. Reggie, if you want to translate in English.
And today this video is in English. And my
Yes.
English is not very well, but I'm trying.
You're great, you're
Okay?
fine.
Vamos fazer metade. A gente está aqui com o nosso treinador, né? O Chris. We're gonna let him introduce himself and tell a little bit about him, what he does, why he came here. Today's a little different. Because we never did an interview in English, but a gente vai fazer metade, okay?
Don't forget, click in below and subscribe.
Subscribe to our channel.
Então, Cris se apresenta, diz pra gente quanto tempo você tá aqui e é isso. Conta um pouco da sua história, qual o seu nome.
So Chris is gonna tell a little bit about how long he's been here, and a little bit of your story, like what happened, what made you come to America.
Welcome to the United States. All right, so my name is Chris, but I saw formal, so just call me CK. I moved to the United States 2002, August 27th, 2002, a week after my birthday. It's coming up, so I expect gifts.
Is that your birthday?
Yeah, so this year, August 27th, will make 20 years since I've been here. I came with my mother. My mother was here first, and then she brought my sister and myself in the year after. She moved here 2001, we came 2002. She moved back in 2010. She's like, yeah,
I'm all set.
I'm all set. I'm all good. She's like, yeah, I brought y'all. Now you're all set. You're grown. So she moved back 2010. We came here through. She was a student, and I came as a student as well. I actually met my wife over here. She's Portuguese. So I speak a little bit of Portuguese. Just a little bit.
Pouco.
And the person that got me into trading people it was a whole culture difference from back home in Zambia and here. You were used to mostly just natural foods. I lived on a farm, then we moved to the city, but even that life was, we grew our own food, our own cows and all that. So we used to natural food, not so much fast food that's in America.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got here, I started seeing McDonald's here,
You went
Wendy's.
crazy. You went crazy.
I did. It was like
you were
this
a
fast
teenager,
food.
right?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I just turned 17.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're a kid.
Yeah.
What kid wants fast food?
It was something brand new for me. Like once, even now in Africa, we're not used to fast food. It's unrealistic. So once I started getting on McDonald's, I came here. So how many kilograms? I would say about 75, 80 kilograms at that time. And then after a while, I ended up being about 140. I was almost 300 pounds. Oh yeah, by the time I was 21, 22, I was 300 pounds. So I gained a lot of weight.
You double your weight.
Oh, I doubled my weight. It was fast food anytime I could get a chance.
Wow.
Because I thought it was so quick to get. It was cheap. I could get a burger for $1.
Yeah.
I could do that 3 times a day. So it was nice and easy.
Yeah.
And
Fast
then,
food is cheap.
oh yeah, then got introduced to soda. I think it is a culture change. We have Coca-Cola in Zambia. Like even like right next to where I lived, they had a factory over there, but we don't drink Coca-Cola like the way it is over here.
Yeah.
Whereas like a daily consumption for us, soda in Zambia is
treat.
like
It's a
exactly.
treat, right?
If you have a party, that's when you have
Yeah.
soda, not like every day. And so I gained some weight. Even though I gained weight, I somehow was still happy with it because I'm a person who believes in self-love a lot. Like if you love yourself, forget everything else. And that worked for me. And it came to a point where I was like, you know what? I need to get my shit together. I mean, can I swear? I'm sorry.
You do you,
All
Chris.
right.
You do you.
And so at that point, that's when when I met my wife, she was a runner. She loved running every day. So you know what, I'll get your attention somehow. So I started running with her. After I started running with her, like 2 or 3 weeks, I started seeing just weight start dropping off. I'm like, oh, okay. So I kept going with the running, and that's when I started thinking all right, I started adding some, I learned to get some lean muscle. I just don't want to get skinnier. So first thing, which actually till today, as I would say, always changed my life was, I don't know if you heard about it, the P90X.
Yes, of course,
Yes.
with that Tony
What's his name?
Horton, Tony Horton, right?
Yeah.
Tony Horton.
Literally-
He's 62 or
Oh,
something, and the guy's amazing.
It's
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
still
yeah.
amazing.
Yes, yes.
Literally, that's what changed my whole life when it comes to working out. I started doing the P90X. In about 3 months, I was able to drop almost 50 pounds.
What?
Oh yeah, I was working out every single day. Sometimes I'd do the workout at home, and then sometimes I'd go to the gym later and do that workout. The funniest thing is, people started seeing what I was doing at the gym, and they'll be like, "Yo, what are you doing, CK?" Like, "Oh, no, I'm working out." I started putting adding my own workouts to it, and then they're like, "Yo, can we do it with you?" So I literally became a personal trainer, kind of undercover.
Yes.
And so like it's like, all right, come with me. Until the one time, they started showing up with me. I think like 2 or 3 guys would start showing up with me. A month in, they'll lose like 10, 15 pounds. And then I was like, all right, it's $25 a session now every time you come see me. And they're like, okay. I'm like, wait, oh, really?
That's it?
And-
Just 25?
Oh,
I'll pay you way more to that.
How long ago was that? That was 11 years ago?
Wow.
That was about 11 years ago. And so I toured them, and so like, all right, so $25 each time you see me, and I see them 2 or 3 times a week, and I was like, all right, this is amazing. After that, people started noticing it. I had more people hit me up on Facebook because I put up a lot of videos of workouts, and they're like, dude, I need a trainer. Literally within a year or 2, I was working a full-time job. I used to work for first I used to work for the Department of Youth Services, which is like correction service for minors. And so I've been working from there from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. But I'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go train people at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., then go to work.
Wow.
And then after work, I'd go back to the gym and train people over there. And I did that for about 3 years. Because in 2017, when my son was about to be born, who was my second born, he was born in September. And literally that year, I told myself, like, I should not be working 75 hours a week. And yet I have 2 kids at home. That's taking time away from them.
Yeah.
And so that's when I'm like, you know what? Even though I do personal training, I didn't have a certification. So that year, 2017, I went to school in Boston. I got my certification as a personal trainer. And that was in May. And then I started training people outside in the park, in Veterans Park in Drayton. A lot of people started seeing the Veterans Park.
Yeah.
That was in April, May. I was doing a 5 a.m. and a 5 p.m. class. We started picking up really quickly. It had 10 people, it turned to 15 people, turned to 20 people. And then, funny enough, the city called me like, hey, we're so proud of what you're doing, but you can't be having a business outside because you gotta come see us for that. I'm like, all right. So,
and welcome to America.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but I'm like, I'm using my own equipment, but you're on public property. I'm like, all right. I mean, I do understand the legal behind this. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so after that, one of the people who was actually training, her daughter used to go to 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Dance studio.
Yeah.
And so she told me, hey, like, she doesn't do classes over there until about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Talk to her and see if we can make something happen. And I called them, and they were the best people in the world. Like, yeah, you can have you use the rooms in the mornings, and then we'll figure out at night. I started having people over there, and I think it was in August, right after my birthday in August, is when I went to the city. I opened up my own business at CK's Training.
Yeah.
And
you start running from the 5, 6, 7, 8?
So yeah, I started 5, 6, 7, 8. I started 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. over there.
Right at Tennis Plaza.
And we started picking up so many people. Before I was used to like not even 20 people. It came to a point where like we had like 25 cars outside. It was like 25 people, 30 people in the class. I'm like, this is what my life is supposed to be. Like, this is what I want, but I need more people.
Yeah.
And every day I pass by this place all the time. I'm like, one thing I always know when I was at Salem State, I was a business major. And number one thing for business is, number one thing till today is always this: location, location, location. If your market is walk-ins, you have to have the right location. And Lakeview Ave is the best location if you're trying to open a gym. And so as I pass by every single day, I'm like, you know what? I need to go over here.
Então, gente, ele falou um pouco, né, da trajetória dele aqui. Eu queria saber, uma das perguntas, né, como que foi essa transição? Você teve um choque cultural muito grande, apesar dele chegar aqui com 17 anos e já saber o inglês, que facilita muito, né? Então, como que foi essa transição dele pra escola? Como que foi o período dele na escola, no college, né?
Yeah.
E assim, quanto tempo ele tá aqui nesse espaço, que é muito bacana, a gente soa pra caramba. Faz a gente morrer, é um personal killer.
Ele mata, gente, ele mata.
Personal killer. Mas como que foi essa trajetória dele, assim, de adolescente pra cá, né? E a escola, como que foi a adaptação dele? Então é isso.
Yeah. So she want to know, like, how was your transition, like, from your country to here? You were a teenager, you got here, other than McDonald's, like, you had the fast food, they have the food that you didn't have before, like, with frequency, right? And then, like, how was, like, your culture shock? Because we all different, right? When we get to, like, Brazil, everybody's so welcome, so warming, and then you come here, it's not so much, right? So how was for you? How was that for you?
I mean, in Zambia, before I came here, I was in a boarding school, and most of the countries in Zambia, it's I think about 80% or 75% of the schools are boarding schools. The reason they do that is because they're trying to help, kind of guide you to become more independent before you're even an adult.
Yeah.
So, for example, you go to boarding school, like, yes, you come with your own food. They give you food over there, but it just teaches you how to be more of an independent individual than being reliant on your parents all the time. When I came over here, the biggest, as soon as I got to school, the lack of respect. There's very little respect here. I went into the classrooms over here, and I could see kids talking over the teachers, speaking back to the teachers. In Zambia, you cannot, like, pretty much the public schools in Zambia, you have to pay for them.
Oh.
So you have to earn to go to school. It's not everybody goes to school. Over here, school is free.
You have to go to school.
Oh, in Zambia, you have to pay, like, from kindergarten, elementary, high school. You have to pay. Like, there is no free education in Zambia.
If it's public, but you have to pay.
There is, yes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. There is no free education over there.
Wow.
Everything you have to pay for. And so that kind of instilled into it, like, pretty much, if you go to school, you're expected to have nothing less than a B or a C, because your parents are pretty much have to wake up early in the morning, go to work, both of them, just so they can pay for you to be in school.
Wow.
And so over here, when something's provided you for free, the search for respect for it is gone. And so I was just shocked. I just have hearing other kids, like, talking to the teachers, like, swearing at teachers. I'm like, that's the first time I heard it. I swear I was waiting for the lady to, like, take her belt out and whoop ass. Because, like, for us, that's what happened.
Yeah.
You talk to the teacher back home, you just do this.
Yeah.
We don't know what that is. Hands out, they get the ruler, you get the whooping. Like, and that is what kind of grow into being respectful for others. I think too over here, like, I didn't see much. When people say culture, I didn't catch much of a culture here.
Yeah.
It's more like, as a community in the United States, people are just present. But then you break it down into singulars like Hispanics, Asians, Africans from this part of Africa. I mean, Africans from different countries. They have their own.
The Brazilians.
Yeah. So like, they have their own cultures within that community.
Yeah,
but as a country as a whole, I don't really see culture. Like, you can't exactly call 4th of July as culture. I'm talking about more like, it's hard to explain it, but when I say it's not, I didn't see much of culture as experienced back home. For example, back home, you're pretty much raised by the community. If I go down the street, if I don't get back till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, my parents won't be worried because they know the neighbor is gonna see me and they're gonna make sure I get home. Over here, it's more of a fair factor. They have to make sure, like, your kids can see them every time they're outside. so that was a big difference for me. I found education here was a little bit easier than it was in Zambia because over here there's multiple choice. We were a British colony, so kind of going under like the Oxford examinations where like if you know the answer, you know the answer. There is no A, B, C, or D. That was different. So I graduated from Low High, then I went to Salem State. So I had a little bit of a scholarship for swimming at Salem State. People still don't believe me when I say that. Like it's a swim for Low High when at Salem State. I was there for a year and a half, but then once again, reality hit me. Like I can't go to swim full time, be in school full time, and have a job full time because I had to pay for the school for myself. I moved out from my mother. Like I moved here when I was 17. I was out of my mother's house when I was 19. Like the whole in Zambia, like by 19 you have to be out. Like you're a man. Get up and get moving. And so I was in Salem State for a year and a half. From there I went to Middlesex. I was there for a year, and then every time I saw the building, I'm like, all right, I already have my associates. Do I need to stay here? Like, no. That's when I was like, I started training people. I'm like, all right. So I got my associates over there, and I was like, I should go back for my bachelor's, but I was like, no, what? No. From what I'm doing right now, I was working with the state, and I was doing personal training. I'm like, all right, so then you need to get back to school for this.
Your day was full, anyhow.
I was like, all right, I've had enough of that. And then I opened this location November 2017. So it's gonna be 5 years.
Wow.
You know what? I pat my own back, but I'm still surprised we made it through 2 years of COVID. And till today, I'm like, you know what? We're still here. We're still standing, and this is the busiest summer we've had over the last 5 years. And so we just keep
everybody trying
pushing.
to fight COVID weight, right?
Oh yeah, trust me. College is college 15. COVID is COVID 30. Yeah. Trust me. So like COVID brought me business, so I'm okay with COVID. Not in a bad way.
I know. Yeah. And what's the plans for the future? Like, what do you see you see yourself in 5 years? I don't like this question.
Oh, no, I like 5 years.
What is your plan like for the future? What do you see like yourself like doing here, and plan to stay in this location, plan to expand, make bigger?
We're definitely planning on expanding. Hopefully for the end of this year, there's another location that we are looking at. My goal is in 5 years. I always have a 5-year plan. Is we should have at least 3 more locations because we'd like to have 4. My goal is by the time I'm 50, I'd like to retire with minimum of 6 locations, and then I'll be done.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, there's I got 13 years left to get 5 more locations. At that point, then I call it like, you know what? Unless somebody else do the work, and I'll be in St. Thomas or St. John.
Yeah, St. John.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. My Zambians hear me say that, but Zambia's landlocked, and we went to St. Thomas for our anniversary, and ever since I've been there, I'm like, this is where I'm gonna retire.
Wow.
Like the water's perfect, the people are amazing. Like that's where I'm supposed to live.
Life in the islands, right?
Yeah, I'm an island child. I was born in Zambia, but I feel like I belong to an island somewhere. I have to ask my mother some questions. Like, is he my father? Who's my father? You from Jamaica? I should know.
E tipo assim, quais são, assim, você já falou, né, dos planos dele pro futuro e tal. E o que ele gosta mais aqui na América, e se ele já voltou para o país dele? Acho que não, né? Ele ficou uns 22 anos, né?
Have you been back?
Se ele pensa em voltar, pra passear, se a família...
Just to see the people.
No, I've been trying to go back for the last 3 years. In 2 weeks makes 20 years I've been in America, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I have not been back yet.
And your birth is coming up.
Yes, and it is coming up. And honestly, like, so one of the reasons too is like, at first was COVID. They had travel restrictions, and then even past COVID, when you own a business like this, I need to be present. I can't exactly like close for 2 weeks. Like that doesn't work so well. And so I'd make sure like I had enough staff, enough clients, so that way it's not going overhead with me being away for 2 weeks. And but my goal is 2022, I have to go home. Like, it has to be this year. I cannot wait another year.
Ele já foi para outro, ele já foi no Brasil,
Have you been to Brazil?
Not yet. I have not.
Portugal?
Portugal?
Nope, I've been
No.
to St. Thomas, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico.
Does your
Puerto Rico.
kids speak Portuguese?
Yes.
No,
No.
and that's not mother's fault, not mine.
Ele tem dois filhos? One.
Two.
You have two
Two,
boys?
yes.
Two boys?
A boy and a girl.
Ah,
Yes.
boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Ok. Então, gente, nossa, vocês já viram que a história dele é muito
Nossa,
legal.
é inspiradora mesmo.
Inspiradora.
Yeah,
E aí,
inspirational.
eu vou perguntar pra ele, assim, o que ele mais gosta aqui na América, né? E qual que é a mensagem, eu sempre pergunto pros nossos convidados, vocês já sabem, qual que é a mensagem que o nosso convidado tem, assim, eu acho que a própria história dele é uma
mensagem,
mensagem,
já,
né?
né?
Tipo, de
Sim,
motivação.
É.
De, poxa, eu fui lá, me transformei em algo meu e tem um negócio, cara, e é demais, ele é muito bom no que ele faz.
Muito bom.
Então, eu queria que ele contasse um pouco do que ele gosta mais na América e qual que é a mensagem que ele tem para as pessoas que têm um sonho, que moram aqui, ou que estão, ou da Zâmbia, ou Brasil, enfim, todas as pessoas que nos assistem, e o que ele tem de mensagem para passar para nós, além da própria história dele.
So, I would like to know, what do you like most from here, from USA? And your final message to the people that, to the people,
Yes.
what do you have to tell them? Like, something, like, if you're afraid to come, like, what would you do? Like, don't be afraid, right?
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
But, like, tell what do you like most from here, and then tell you, like, your message, what the message you have for our listeners and viewers.
What I like most about the United States is if you put your mind to it, you can achieve it. That's one thing. It's like there's so many resources over here that if you literally sit down and say, I want to do this, I want to open a gym, I want to have a small business, I want to I want to make cupcakes, I want to make cookies. There's so many resources in the United States that makes it possible for you, where in other places it's not as possible. There's such a wide variety of people here that you're able to make part of your business. For example, over here I have every different culture. I have Hispanic, African, African American, Asian. I have that variety of people is helps you grow something if you really want to make it happen. But I also have this.
They also included you too, right?
Yeah.
It's just like that's how I feel. Like if you excluded yourself for anything, you're gonna feel excluded. But if we embrace every culture, everything, you're gonna be included too.
Open your hands.
Open your
let people
hands.
in.
Just don't be like, oh, I don't talk to them because they're Indian or they're Brazilian or they're Hispanic or they're whatever. Right? So sometimes
that's really the biggest thing. Like open up.
Open
you
yourself.
want to open yourself up.
Yes.
Like the more that you're present, the more that your hands are open up wider, more people will be able to see you. If you keep yourself like this, less people see you.
Yeah.
Open up. Honestly, don't be afraid to come to the United States. There's a lot of backlog in here. A lot of bad things happen, but guess what? That's around the world. Find yourself around the community that makes you feel welcome. Be part of the community that's welcoming, but definitely just set your mind to it. Set your mind to it. Like, hey, I'm more than just doing this. If your mind is like, no, what? I want to work for myself. I want to provide to the community doing this. The only way you'll fail is if you don't try. And failing while you're trying is better than not doing anything.
They're not doing anything.
It's always better to fail.
That's beautiful.
Right?
It's beautiful.
Thank you,
So
Chris.
good.
It's so
CK.
good. Thank
See
you.
you tomorrow morning.
See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow
morning. Thank you. Obrigada, gente, por ter assistido. A entrevista foi muito legal.
Muito
Thank
legal.
you,
Thank you
Chris.
very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much for coming.
We love you,
Appreciate it.
man. We
I
love you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
And see you. Vejo vocês depois.
Yes.
Beijo, até o próximo vídeo.
Aperta o like, gente.
Yeah.
E also subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe.